Thank you for joining us for this marathon. I'm Rob Whiteside. Today on ParksCenter, we're going to be talking about best music in the parks and some all-you-care-to-eat foods. Join us now on ParksCenter. Welcome to ParksCenter for November 26, 2023. I'm your host, Rob Whiteside. Thank you guys for being with us for this marathon. We appreciate it. We're going to talk all about the marathon. If you've never joined us for ParksCenter, it's a panel discussion that we do in a very quick format usually about all things Disney parks. And this week, here's the panel we've got with us, starting with Mr. Patrick Hackett.
Look, I
am. Okay. And Rob Bazemore. How are you, Rob?
Outstanding. Ho, ho, ho.
You do kind of look like Santa, so thanks for joining us during your busy season. We appreciate it. So tonight we're going to be, or today, I keep saying tonight. I'm used to us being on
fine.
At 9 p.m. It's weird. It's weird, but
it's fine.
Yeah, I turned out all the lights in this room just to make sure that I thought it was nighttime. So, again, thank you guys for being with us during the marathon. If you have not already, I'm hearing a lot of clicking. I don't know who that is. Is that one of you guys?
That might be me. I'm sorry.
Okay. Oh wait, Megan's here.
Here I am. Sorry guys. Hi.
Hang on a second. Yeah, Megan's on here too. So give me 1 second. I'll bring you
up. What an
amazing
entrance. Yeah. That was fantastic.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't like this.
Yeah, it's
that's okay. Rob, while we get Megan aboard, we got $9 in donations. So thank you, Noelle Schornhorst. Who put it to $660.70, and then Anonymous, who donated $4, which did not change the total, but I do believe we're at $6,674. Thank you so much for your donations. As always, this is for the Tots. This is not for WDWNT. This does not go to pay for Tom's trips to Hong Kong and Tokyo. We don't touch this money. It goes directly to Toys for Tots.
How dare you? Say something else, Patrick.
Oh, I didn't know. I wasn't looking. I was looking at the other window. Hi. I am very happy to be here. I'm not Kamila. What just happened?
I know. It's there's all kinds of trouble in River City. Just bear with me.
It's like at 9:00. You can't get things done. It's very interesting. I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to have more than one person on the panel with me. Em and I had a great time doing a little Beyond the Hub earlier this week. And coming up, you have the auction. So go to auction.wdwnt.com. Check out all our fantastic auction items. You can bid now before they go live. You can set your bid to a reasonable amount, so that way you don't go over what you want to go over.
Yeah. You would think this was our first show. It's great. So again, thank you guys for being with us. We almost started on time. Do we get points for that one?
Points. I give the points.
Yeah. No, that's right. For Around the Hub. Let's just jump into this. So when we talk about discussion topics, usually we don't do discussion on ParksCenter anymore long form. Everything's usually very short. But because we've got 2 hours, we thought we would kind of deep dive into some stuff that we like to talk about. And music from the parks came up to me. And here's why, is that I get a song stuck in my head from the parks. And it's really weird in my normal life to be walking around singing The Magic is Calling or Magic Happens or things like that. So what I wanted to do is see if anybody else had this shared mania that I do. And it's a lot of really good music. That's the crazy thing, too. The original stuff from the parks is the stuff that sticks with you. I remember when I was a little kid, going to the Universe of Energy and just loving the Universe of Energy song when it just, oh man, it was so good. And then going to Disneyland Paris and riding their Space Mountain and having that in headset experience where you pull back into the station, you hear this da 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 da, and you feel like you've actually been, in a movie or a small part of the action, which I think is what that's all about. So what I figured we would do today is we go a little bit around and talk about our favorites. And here's the categories I want you guys to cover. Is the first one I want to talk about is just music from the shows that are out there. So that'd be nighttime shows. I've had Start a Wave in my head. Magic Happens. Man, Disneyland's killing it with the music these days. So it could be past shows, could be current shows. Any of these is the groundwork that I gave you guys. And then we'll go into talking about original songs from attractions. I kind of want to stay away from anything that's just like, existing IP. And then we'll talk about seasonal, because I think that there's some good stuff that happens just at Christmas and Halloween. And then we'll finish up with talking about music loops that we love. So let me pass this to Patrick first, as you're looking around for something. I don't know. But
My mom was calling.
I don't know that one. Is that what attraction is? Or what show is that from?
It's oh good. There I am. I was thinking about this a lot, and it's really funny. My songs from parades that I remember the most is Baroque Down, obviously from Main Street Electrical. And this is gonna sound weird because it's not a Disney song, but I associate it strictly with Disney. Is Walk the Dinosaur from the Electric Water Pageant. After coming back from the parks, that gets in my head constantly, is just thinking about that song. The parade songs don't stick with me as much. I'm not a huge parade fan. I think maybe it's because I've been so long without a nighttime parade at a park of my own, that I just have forgot what parade music can mean to you. I do like Paint the Nights music. That's always fun. It's a lot of pop music, though, in that.
Yeah, but again, I think what I was looking for mostly was to say, stuff that's original. Todrick Hall did the music for Magic Happens, and every time I say that, I see Megan go, yep, because again, she's out in California, and she gets to go and experience that stuff all the time. But I started thinking about it. Like, there are a lot of good like songs from shows. Happily Ever After. No one's out here talking about that one. Oh my gosh, it's so good. Rob, I'm going to throw it to you next. Tell me something from a show that you love dearly.
Wow. There's so much. So, and obviously Harmonious is a big one. I know there's not a lot of fans who hear of Harmonious, but that music there, to me, it talks and incorporates a lot about what EPCOT Center is. And I just love it. It's just, walking away at the end of the night, it just gives a good feeling.
Did you just say EPCOT Center? How old are you, dude?
Yeah.
I mean, are you allowed to say EPCOT Center?
I don't. It's EPCOT Center for sure.
Yes. Okay, that's fine. Yeah, Harmonious. That is. You're going to be alone on that one, I think. No one's gonna rush to your side for that one. Although, Epcot Forever. Now that you're talking about shows like that, Epcot Forever is a really good one because it has a lot of that original Epcot music in it. So sorry about that. So I again, Harmonious. That's a strange pull, but maybe somebody out there is a fan for it. The real stuff, the real deals in California. So Megan, tell us about what your favorites are.
Oh man, I have so many that get stuck in my head. Yes, Magic Happens. Not the beginning though. There's like two separate lyrical, melodies that happen in that one, and it's the end one. It's like come with me. That one. That one, whatever's at the end, always gets stuck in my head. And then Happily Ever After does get stuck in my head too. I've only seen it in person once, but I listen to that song all the time. And then for seasonal, definitely Season of Light for World of Color, the end song, which is my favorite finale of all time. I think the song's called Let There Be Peace on Earth. And the way that they like produce that is so beautiful. And that one gets stuck in my head around the holidays.
Okay. Pause.
There's a lot.
So we're gonna switch to seasonal then, and we'll talk about seasonal, and then we'll come back around for you for.
Oh, sorry, I jumped the gun. Sorry.
No. Let's see. I saw it coming. We're good. But for seasonal, I'm gonna go ahead and spoil this one. My favorite seasonal, it has to be "Boo to You." That song gets in my head year round.
Yeah.
Like that Happy Halloween, boo. Yeah, I mean, and maybe it's just the repetition of it. I don't know, but that is the one seasonal that I'm just like, can't ever get out of my head. Patrick, did I steal yours, or did you have a different one?
No, Megan was actually going about what I was talking about. The end of Reflections of Earth, the holiday tag, is one of the most emotional pieces of music I've ever experienced in a theme park, and it's really wonderful. I don't know if it's there anymore, man. It's been forever since I've actually checked out the Very Merry Parade. The section where Goofy was riding his little candy thing was like candy, candy, yummy, yummy. That used to get stuck in my head forever, and it was awful. Is that still there? Does that Goofy come on that bicycle with all the candy? This is a real thing. I'm not having a fever dream in front of everyone, right?
No, I think they switched it to Vanellope
Yeah,
because candy.
good old. Yeah, got it. But yeah,
Get that sugar rush.
Reflections of Earth,
Yeah,
that
Rob,
holiday
tell
tag.
me you have one and it's not associated with Harmonious.
Yeah, I will tell you that, and I know they're not doing it again this year. And this might be a negative thought, but the Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind, the holiday remix that they aren't doing this year, I thought was awesome. What a great mix-up to an exciting ride in Epcot.
Dude, I love you. I love your name. Your choices are so questionable. I can't even believe it. Like I'm just putting that out there, man. Like if there was one that I picked, if there was one I was picking to like bury for all time, that would have been the one. And people who watch the show know I like to like things, man. But that one, wow. Oh my gosh, I cannot wait to hear what yours is when we start talking about attractions. I just cannot.
I'm mad
wait.
they're not bringing that back. I'm really upset they're not bringing that back. It seems like such a cheap, easy thing to do. And like, just bring it back.
Well, I mean, okay, so we'll pause for a second here and talk about this because cheap and easy, yes, they just threw a new song on there and that was it. And honestly, I felt like it was a ripoff because you've got an entirely screen-based attraction, and then you go and you look at what they do for Monsters After Dark, which, by the way, I didn't mention Monsters After Dark even as a like. You like that one? Okay, Megan likes that one.
I do.
Monsters After Dark, like from the her metal days. But when you do, when you have an attraction like that where they change the programming on the rocket animatronic, and they have they basically make the place look completely different for that. And even like the physical stuff, like in the lobby, looks a little bit different for that attraction. And so I thought Guardians overlay, it's going to be like that. Maybe there'll be something. Maybe even if you just threw a Santa hat on Pratt during the pre-show. I don't know, but there was literally nothing different other than that run rocket thing, and I'm not a fan.
Keeping on theme, it could have been Wham! Last Christmas, and it would have been amazing.
Right?
Here's the thing, though. Here's the thing. I thought that's the direction they were going on. Brian Setzer, Wham, that kind of stuff, and just doing like instead of the songs they do now, just rotate Christmas songs through, which would have given it even more like I don't know. I just feel like it would have given it more rideability on that, and I would have been very anxious to do it. The original thing seems like maybe I don't know. It just seemed like a little bit of a cop out. So. I was not a fan of that. I do like it when we see overlays and, it was something rather than nothing. But it's, I don't know. All right, so let's move on to attractions. So attraction music, and I'm talking about original stuff. Obviously, if you ride through, like a Little Mermaid, you're hearing like Kiss the Girl and Under the Sea, but stuff that's original, they have a huge history of this. There's a lot of stuff that people like. I saw Frank was in chat saying Grim Grinning Ghosts. Jake says Whamageddon the ride. Okay, but there's a lot of of original music for the parks that means something to all of us. So I do think that that's something that you take with you as well. I'm waiting we're going to do Rob last because he's going to say nothing can stop us now. But so I'll start. I'll start with Patrick and move around that way.
I mean, come on. It's One Little Spark, and it's not close. There's nothing that can compare with One Little Spark. It is the greatest theme park song ever made. I mean, Figment is the quintessential Disney animatronic and one of the most important things that WDI have ever done, and that song is just the feather in the hat.
Okay. Megan,
I feel bad because I was gonna say Nothing Can Stop Us Now, but I'm not gonna say that's my favorite. I'm just gonna say that it's the one that does get stuck in your head all day, especially because when you first walk into Toontown, it plays instrumentally on the little on the loop. I'm gonna say I'm actually gonna go with the original Space Mountain music. It's near and dear to my heart. I know it hasn't been played for many years, decades even, but they played it on a loop in the promenade for the D100 over in Disneyland, and I was like, oh my gosh, I didn't forget about it, but it was one of my favorite tracks to listen to as a kid. And I did get to ride the attraction with that music too for quite a bit. So yeah, I'm gonna go with that one. I know it's old, but that's one of my favorites.
That's Dick Dale, right?
Yes, the surfer
yeah.
the surfer futuristic. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Really awesome choice.
Yeah. Well, Rob has told everybody in the chat that he's got the good one. He's got the good one.
I do.
So let's have it.
I have the number one of all time. It's a great, big, beautiful tomorrow. Come on, Carousel Progress. That has to be the best. You can't walk out of it without being stuck in your head for hours after you get off the ride. After you finish your nap on Carousel Progress.
How dare you?
Stuck in your head.
Wow. Why would you say that, man?
Yeah.
Mic drop.
You stay awake.
We're missing one of the biggest ones, I think, and it's a small world. Unfortunately, but it is.
Yeah, it's a small world. It is more like what you were talking about for me with that Nothing Can Stop Us Now, because you hear it everywhere, not just in the parks but in movies, and they kind of take cheap shots at it all the time. So it is, and it works perfectly with that attraction. So I think that's a good one. Yeah, but again, Grim Grinning Ghosts and Yo Ho Yo Ho. Yeah. The fact that Ex Intencio wrote those songs and just like he's just like, I'll just put this.
We need a Grammy for theme park song. That'd be awesome. That's what I want.
There's one, and I think Brandy's in chat, so I'm going to throw this out there. There's one at Dollywood that it's the Mystery Mine is the name of the attraction, and it's like this sort of like bluegrass player is singing the Misty Mystery Mine. Yeah, it's in context, it's very good. Outside of it, it's not one that's a banger. But again, I go through through my playlists online, and I'm just like Happily Ever After is a go-to for me all the time. Back to the show stuff, and then Start a Wave has been there recently just because I saw World of Color 1 again, and I thought it's amazing. I like Wondrous. Like, if you don't like the show, like at least the song, like I think is pretty cool. And then also, the Magic Is Calling, the theme for the 50th, I thought was really good.
Yes.
So
really
most of the stuff that's in my head is the stuff from the shows, and the funny part is like Wishes. Like, that's one I'll just go Wishes, like, for no particular reason, just because that one was near and dear to my heart. So let's talk about music loops.
Rob, before we go to the next one, we did miss a couple between the shows. I wanted to say thank you again to Noelle, who donated $50. Hooray! Ben returned for a show, so it was nice to have Ben Harris back. Christopher Browner added $27. Merry Christmas and happy holidays to the whole WDWNT family. Keep up the great work. Thank you all for your donations. Make sure you go to toys.wdwnt.com to donate. Yep.
Appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you guys so much for the donations. We appreciate it. We're trying to raise money for a great cause, and that's why we're here in the middle of the day on a Sunday. And don't forget, tonight there's an auction as well. All right, so let's move on to the music loop thing, because again, like, I know that Tom knows music loops dead. Like, he could tell you, this is this music loop, or this is a music loop from 2 loops ago, or they changed this one. And we know that the park reporters were in there, and every time they would pull a song from pull Zippity Doodah from any loop, we're like, they did it, they finally got it out of there. So I would say, though, this one kind of breaks my rule about the IP, and let me just throw mine out there first, is that when you walk into Hollywood Studios now, around the buses, that big band versions of Disney songs, like you hear like Friend Like Me and Bibbidi Boppity, and it's mixed in so well that it gives you that old Hollywood vibe that I used to love about the studios. And so I'm glad that they have that there. That's the music loop that to me means so much right now. I think Epcot was probably one, like that entrance plaza loop was a big deal, but you don't realize how much that music means until it's not there. And so, when you go into it, like, something's missing, you feel something's missing when you go in there. And this is a little bit harder to quantify because, again, you may have that feeling and not remember that loop, but, I'm gonna start with Patrick again. Is there one that means something to you, or not really?
The Epcot entrance plaza means something to me because it always feels like the start of my vacation when I get there. I don't know. Magic Kingdom feels like a different world than the rest of Disney World, and I feel like vacation really starts for me once I hit Epcot. It might be the drinking; it's definitely possible. Uh, though my favorite and the one that used to help me get through work days back in the old WDWN Tunes day when we just had parks music on all day long, is Animal Kingdom background music is amazing, especially the Flame Tree Barbecue area loop. It just was so good. It was relaxing. It helped get me in the zone to work. It is one of my favorites, and I think maybe because it's a quieter park, I think the kinetic energy is different around Animal Kingdom. There's not as much big whooshes going on. Those rides are set a little bit further apart. Uh, you hear it more, and I think you experience it more. I think Animal Kingdom is a much more experiential park than a lot of the other ones, and the music to me plays a huge role in that.
Okay. Megan?
Yeah, I mean, I guess in terms of loops, oh man, that's tough. I go to Main Street really. Our Main Street over here. I know one specifically, Coney Island was one that we sang in choir, so I knew that like the back of my hand. I could sing the words to the Main Street tune, you know. And then I did enjoy the promenade music. Like I was just saying for the D100 over in Disneyland because they were playing a lot of the old tracks, the old California Screamin', and Space Mountain, and yeah, so I enjoyed that one too. But I think it's Main Street, and especially Main Street during the holidays. They do classic songs with that like jingly Main Street vibe, and it just really gets you in the holiday spirit. So I got to go with that one. Holiday
Okay.
on Main Street. Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
Mr. Bazemore.
Yeah, I'd have to say the same thing, specifically the Disneyland Main Street background tracks. It's just, it's oftentimes a mix of a number of cool key songs from throughout the park. And when I walk in and I hear that sound, even if I'm not paying attention to the actual song itself, it just sets the mood for my day. It just kicks it off. And I love the specifically Disneyland, the Main Street as you walk in.
Okay.
Thanks, Rob.
You're back, Rob. You're back. You've redeemed yourself from the harmonious misstep. But again, I mean, the music is vital. I think a lot of times when we kind of do the anatomy of why Disney is special to us, and whether it's the attractions or the shows or the extra the extra effort that's given by the cast members or the childhood memories or whatever, there's always music, I feel like, attached to that. And even when you don't know it, it's kind of like when you walk down Main Street and you smell the Smellitzers and you're like, you don't necessarily pay attention to it, but it definitely gives you a feel. It's if only they had touch and taste labs, that would be great. So we could,
That'd be
no,
cool.
nobody, great.
Brandy in the chat wants some universal inclusion, and 100% Brandy. The IOA Islands of Adventure Port of Entry loop, really great, and has a great holiday loop as well. Really good Christmas loop there. It's a great place to just hang out.
If we're going Universal, Marvel, dude, Marvel Superhero Island jazzes me
It
up.
doesn't. It doesn't compare to walking onto Avengers Campus though. Walking onto Avengers Campus, when I went, it literally hit the Avengers score as I walked in. I was almost in tears.
Yeah. No,
But that's the only thing that plays.
Like, well, you didn't have to ruin it, Megan.
It's alright. Once you're there for like 30 minutes, it's like, oh, okay, this is all that I hear. Okay.
Yeah, no, fair.
Another shouts in the chat. The Soarin', Soarin' Q music and Wilderness Lodge music. Both of those really good as well.
Oh,
Yeah, and they both have a
Soarin',
similar
that's a
vibe
good
to
one.
them, if you think about it.
Yeah.
Like that kind of epic vibe to them. Soarin's for sure. That's a classic, and I think we all were like ready to riot if they were going to change it when they got rid of Soarin' over California and brought in Soarin' around the world. So
Bring it back.
Yeah. Yep. And again, like speaking of like honorable mention, again, there was a lot of the old school tracks from Epcot. I bought the album when I was a little kid because I just was like, I love all this stuff. Not just One Little Spark, but like I said, Universe of Energy. Some attractions that are gone now, like Horizons, and the World of Motion. I mean, again, those songs were so cool, and I'm sure again they were like down to the deadline trying to get everything done for that park, and it just worked. It just all kind of gelled together. So the music was a big part of those parks for me when I was growing up, and also having worked on "Listen to the Land," I had that one echoing in my head. When springtime comes, yeah, exactly. And I've told this story before, but when I worked on there, I was a spieler. Back in the day, you actually had a spiel, and you would stand on that boat and wear your powder blue jumpsuit. It was epic. It was great. And I would give my spiel. The very last line that you would say as you were ending the attraction before you had to like vamp when the boats got backed up. But the very last thing you would say is, as we look to the future and we listen to the land, and then the music would kick in and you'd hear it, and it was like, it was all part of the show. I mean, and that's what the music is. So, any other honorable mentions before we move on to the parks news? Patrick, anything?
A couple from the chat. Obviously, it's Rob saying Tiki Room. Neko saying San Francisco, even though it's a lot of just anime themes. The International Gateway Loop at Epcot, really good one. Very good. And veggie, fruit, an honorable mention, but please no. No, not veggie, fruit.
Megan, any more from California that means something to you?
I also really like the Pixar Pier loops. They do play some of the music from the shorts as well as the movies, like Coco. They'll do Lava. They play the songs right as you enter Pixar Pier, and I think that loop is really cute too. They kind of shorten them a little bit, and they go through all the big ones.
Okay. And Rob?
Yeah.
I go back to resorts too. Like my home resort is Grand Floridian. So walking in there again also makes me feel like my vacation has really started between the smells and the background music. It's just like, it's exciting.
Well, one other thing that none of you guys mentioned, because apparently I'm the oldest one here, is when Rob, you were talking about Great Big Beautiful Tomorrow, now is the time. There was a period for Carousel of Progress where they when it first opened, it was Great Big Beautiful Tomorrow. Then there was a period of time where it was now is the time, and then they went back to Great Big Beautiful Tomorrow. That was one that when I was, again, a cast member and I was in Traditions, they were singing that one all the time. That's one that would stick with you, which is just very random because now it's been erased from history pretty much. But you guys you remember it a little bit?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Now Megan's like, nope. I have no idea what you're talking about. That's fine. That's fine. You remember, like, back in the day, Megan, Disneyland had Carousel of Progress, and then we took it to Disney World, and it's the only thing that we have that Disneyland can be jealous of that we took away.
Oh, that's not the only thing.
And People Mover, which is number
there
one.
There it is.
Yeah.
There's the one.
True.
That's the one. Yeah. Innovations was cool for a while, and now it's just empty. Nothing there.
Yes.
So
it is the best time of your life. All right, so let's let's move on from the music. Thank you guys for having that discussion with us tonight, and in the chat, and for all the donations. Again, we are here raising money for the kids, for the gifts, and for Toys for Tots. So if you can give a little bit, we appreciate it. Let's move on to some parks news because something tragic happened in your neck of the woods. And I'm not holding you responsible. I'm just saying something tragic happened, Megan. So
where were you when the lamppost fell, Megan?
Where were you? That is a great question. A lamppost fell in on Main Street, which is crazy. I was literally there like 3 weeks ago, and I didn't have anything to do with this either. But the idea that the wind is what knocked this down is what scares me the most, because there's a lot of lampposts on Main Street, and unfortunately, multiple guests were injured in this. But have you been around the situation, on Main Street? How are they handling it now, Megan?
Yeah, I mean, things are pretty much back to normal. They did put a giant fake rock over the hole that's there. They removed some of the lights from the other light posts that are like literally perpendicular or parallel to them on the other side of the town square. And other than that, they did not zip tie. They like anchored down some of the lights in the actual hub near the partner statue that might be a little bit rickety or could potentially tip from the winds. That was the only other thing that I noticed they adjusted with this accident or after it happened, because obviously some maintenance needs to be done on those guys that have been standing there for probably a long time. But yeah, the Santa Anas ripped through, and those are actually some of the worst I had seen in a while. I grew up here, so I'm very, very used to the Santa Ana winds, and they were bad. They were bad that morning and that evening. So yeah, it was just bad place, bad time, and yeah, that happened.
Is this the rock in question?
That's the rock right there. Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
That is not the rock. I know what he looks like. That is not him.
Oh.
Okay, if you say so. Yeah, and I don't know if I'm more comforted when they go and they find other ones than they kind of, like you said, they had the supports on them to hold them down. I don't know if I'm more comfortable with that, or then I'm like, wait a minute, is this whole place falling apart? Obviously, again, been there since 1955. So there's a lot of I guess potential hazard there. They paint these things all the time. You would think maybe they would check them out for stuff like that, but I know they will now moving forward. Patrick, what are your thoughts here?
Absolutely.
I don't know. It feels like A, it could happen at any time, and B, it shouldn't happen at any time. I guess, we had pictures later that showed it was pretty rusted out. You got to think, you were saying since 1955. I don't know. How long are lampposts and streetlights supposed to last? Shouldn't they be on a rotation to replace? And then you think back, and I guess, we go with the old school sentiment of things were built to last back then. And I don't know. I'm kind of torn between, this happened and this shouldn't have happened. It's a tough situation.
Right. And these were technically parade lights, so I don't know if they'd been there, for almost 70 years. I think it's whenever parades started, whenever modern parades started to illuminate the floats as they went by. And I guess they're turned on after the fireworks happen to see the snow. But yeah, it's like when the roots are in grass, you have to understand that, like, okay, grass is not cement, it's not stable. So when things are, getting a little rusted in there, maybe time to check them out or replace them somehow. So yeah, and that's unfortunately where this one was.
This is a great science lesson. Grass is not cement.
Yeah.
Is that a direct quote? Like, can we quote you on that? Grass is not cement. No, but I get what you're saying with that. Yeah, exactly. So, extra innings on this one. Rob, thoughts before we move on?
Yeah, same thing. It's unacceptable. They're engineers, tons of engineers. They understand what weather does to all the substrates in the parks. And it's just unacceptable with the amount of rust that we saw on them after the fact that they hadn't kept these in better repair. It's one of the most visible things, like when you walk in, and for them not to have spent the money to maintain it, it's just not acceptable.
Okay. Well, and again, we hope everybody is all right from that one. There was an elderly woman, I believe, who was injured from the falling of the post, which, again, that little area right there at the front is a natural place to sit and, or hang out. And so, it's just...
It was where people were standing to take a picture with the tree. That's like a line right there.
I have to ask, if something falls on you in the parks, do you get unlimited park tickets for the rest of your life? Do you get all the churros that you can eat or corn dogs? I mean, what do you think happens?
You get a hefty paycheck.
Bowl. One bowl per person.
One bowl.
That's it.
Well,
One
wait.
bowl.
Remind people what the situation was with the bowl again. Like, I know you got it from Hoop-de-Doo, but
Yeah, so I went to the Hoop-de-Doo review. They gave us, the power was out at Fort Wilderness, and we kept saying they were going to give us a full show. Eventually, they let us in well after our time and gave us an abbreviated show. Really rushed everything. Didn't get any of the Hoop-de-Doo stuff. Just a random show that was put together. And at the end, the manager came on and was like, I know this wasn't your expectations, but we're giving everyone one of our exclusive Fort Wilderness or whatever it is. I can't think of it now. Pioneer Hall bowls. And I was like, all right, that's not really the same as compensating me for the amount of money I spent for this. But he's like, you can get a pretty penny for these on eBay. I'm not going to sell my bowl. It's my bowl now. It stays in the background always.
you know what? You're right. That is the equivalent of a pole falling on your head. The lights were out.
Oh, you set me up. You absolutely set me up. And I am furious at you right now.
No, but I mean, it not only did they compensate you with a bowl, but also they didn't have to do the dishes that night. Was it a used bowl or was it a new bowl?
Clean. It was clean.
Okay,
Yeah,
well then that is
clean.
fancy.
Yeah.
That is fancy.
Yeah.
Let's move on and talk about the future because our boy Josh tomorrow, what is all in on the parks? A couple things happen. One is that the Shanghai parks we got a first look at the puppets that they're using, which they did something similar to this at D23 Expo when they were talking about Zootopia, and they showed this. They didn't have these puppets, but that was pretty cool. They also have some uniforms here, but what I did think was really super cute is that they have Nick Wilde in his police officer costume, which we've never seen him in that before. That's really cool because of the attraction, I guess, and the land. So that's really neat. And then they opened up Frozen in Hong Kong, the world of Frozen. Our own Mr. Tom Corliss was out there taking a ride on the Wandering Oaken sliding sleighs. But Josh has talked about that they are all in on the parks. I think $60 billion in 10 years, but that's parks, resorts, and experiences. And so one of the things they're talking about is the reimagining still of Dinoland. And again, here's the weird thing to me is that I love this. I love this idea. We've heard this is going to happen in the future, like not in the next 5 years, but the 5 years after that is when this may or may not happen. But it takes them so long to do anything. Tron, the EPCOT renovations, which we're going to talk about in a little bit. Everything takes so long. Meanwhile, like over at Universal, they're like, "Oh, Velocicoaster, we're going to put that up. We're not going to tell you about it until we're ready to open the gates." DreamWorks Land is happening. Like, there's a lot of stuff that they're putting together more quickly over there. I love the quality of Disney. I think that's great. I love that they're being somewhat thoughtful about this, but they've sort of been teasing us with, stuff they're going to be doing to Dinoland, and no shovels have hit the dirt yet, really. So that tells me that if they're not going to start for a while, we are a long way off from this. And except for Tiana, I don't really know any other projects that are still happening because, in California, they just opened the Adventureland Treehouse. We just opened the Moana Journey of Water in Epcot. So most of the things that we've been promised have either been opened or canceled or are all blue sky. So, Patrick, how do you feel about this? And keep in mind, we're talking about our boy Josh. So be kind.
I'm always kind when I'm talking about Josh. I spoke a little bit about it during the brief around the hub that we have. I just worry about the theming of Encanto and Indiana Jones and making sure it's animal focused. Now, Josh did say in the announcement that he's a former president of Animal Kingdom and he knows how special that park is. He wants to make sure that everything is within theme. I think if you focus on Antonio and have like a tour through Antonio's room where you can see a lot of different animals, a nice walking trail there in addition to an Encanto attraction would maybe help tie it together. I wonder what we're going to do with Indiana Jones that's going to make it more animal centered. Are we really going to lose the Carnotaur animatronic? And then I see this stuff in the Asian parks and it's just, they kill it. every single time they're knocking it out of the ballpark. Every single thing, from Nick's costume to the little puppets in the windows. Like, bring back the Muppets. Why do we not have Muppets in America? Like,
You
let's
know,
go.
I was thinking about this. Do you think that was like a, I don't know, like a beta test for the puppets, is doing the Muppet thing, or do you think that was just they were like, let's just try it and see what happens? Because again, this, I don't know, very looks very similar, doesn't it? The idea of the way they're running the puppets here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool.
I don't know.
Rob, thoughts?
Yeah, I think actually I have a different point of view. Surprise! I think that you're actually going to.
Quelle
I know.
surprise.
I think you're actually going to see an acceleration of development in the parks, and it's purely because of the dropping revenue. They drastically need to give reasons for people to come to the parks. They also need to increase capacity within the parks. And this development, although it's going to be a pricey from a capex standpoint, they're really looked at from Wall Street on what their OPEX looks like. So I think as much as we like to push and make fun of Disney for moving slowly in their development, I think that you're going to see it rapidly increase. Now, the risk is that we're going to not have the attention to detail that we're used to or that we expect from Disney. So it's going to be a kind of careful what you wish for, because they move too quickly. I don't think we'll get what we're used to.
I think, Rob, what you're talking about, like, I get it, but also that they've got plenty of time. I mean, to put this stuff together, and some of this stuff's been in development for a while. Again, we look down the street, right? And I'm seeing it in the chat. We look down the street and we see that Universal is building this huge epic universe. I don't know if it's going to be as awesome as we think it is, or as epic as we think it is, but we got Super Nintendo World coming, a bigger version than the one they have out in Hollywood. We've got the Universal Monsters, and How to Train Your Dragon, and more Harry Potter. And it's just like, we as Disney fans are like, okay, we see what you're doing down there. It's opening in 2025, an entirely new park with new hotels and new experiences. What are you guys doing to match that? I don't think we're ever going to like not go and spend time at Disney, but I'm certainly going to go and spend a little more time at Universal when Epic Universe comes. What's up?
Yeah, I don't think they have as much time as we think that they have. I think Wall Street is pushing them really hard. I think that we have a couple different large groups who are already looking at to get board positions on their board. I think we have Bob Iger, who's looking to leave a legacy when he leaves the park. So I feel confident that when he walks out, his last day, there will be a number of very large projects that are working. I also believe that in the background, that Imagineering has been kind of developing some works in the background as for the past couple of years, and I think you're going to see a quick acceleration of development and building in the parks.
Well, you know what, and you would think at the very least they've got a lot of things they could copycat. Zootopia, sure. Let's put that right next to Disneyland Hotel. I mean, like, there's a lot of those things that already exist. The plans have already been built. All that stuff happens, except for the fact, how long has it taken us to put a Hatbox Ghost that already existed into the Haunted Mansion in Florida? Like, that's one animatronic. Why is that taking so long?
That's very different, because that's not adding any additional capacity within the park. There's no ROI associated with them putting the Hatbox. These new lands, these new rides are all designed to increase ARPU for guests.
I agree. But I just mean, as far as timing goes, like I'm saying, they can duplicate some of the other lands like Frozen and things that they've done. But it seems like it takes them a long time. By the way, if Bob Iger wants to leave a legacy, there is a place at Epcot where nobody leave a legacy. Anyway, let's move on to Epcot. Speaking of which, the Festival of the Holidays is in full swing now. We've been talking a lot on ParksCenter about all of the holiday offerings that have come to Disneyland and Disney World. This is the first one. This is the last piece of the puzzle, really. So the Festival of Holidays is now happening. We had the entire WDWNT team was out there experiencing the kitchens and and tasting and testing everything and all the offerings that's out there. One of the things that we like to see too is that they give us holiday offerings in the attractions, which like we were talking about with they're not doing the song in Guardians of the Galaxy, but they did give Figment his sweater. So at least some things are right in the world. It's such a small thing, but it means something to us. And the same thing goes with living with the land and them putting in all of the lights inside of that. That's a tradition that has grown and grown and grown, and I think has become something that we all expect to see around the holidays. Let me go around and we'll start with Patrick and go around and say just there's been a lot of stuff that we've featured on the website about the Festival of the Holidays. What are the things that you look at, Patrick, and you say this is the thing that I am most excited about?
First and foremost, shout out to our team that's out there covering all these things and eating so much. While you think it might be fun, I imagine your tummies get a little upset. So thank you for doing all this hard work. How about Char and Chop? Looking like some great drinks over there. Some good bites. The Bubbles and Brine looks good. As always, I am disappointed with what happens at L'Chaim. I'm not from a Jewish family, but I married into one, and the food there does not look like it should be having that name on it. Ruggla is amazing. A good Ruggla is incredible, and to mess it up that badly seems difficult. It also seems to be like, just because it's a Brooklyn lager, like I don't know, that doesn't feel right. Can we get something a little bit different there? And putting Manischewitz feels a little too on the nose. It's there's some great treats around, and also your potato pancakes are undercooked. Like, you fry those latkes up better.
Megan, when you're out there, I know that you were testing a bunch of stuff at the Festival of Holidays in DCA.
Yes.
Have you looked at the ones at in Florida, and are there any that you're supremely jealous of? Because Patrick likes it when the people in Disneyland are jealous of the East Coast stuff. He loves it.
Oh, I do.
Don't let him lie. Yeah, he loves it.
I do like that. I don't like it when they have better things than us.
I'm so sorry. I really haven't, and I apologize for that. I haven't taken a look at the menus just because Festival of the Holidays is very different from Festival Holidays over here at DCA. But I don't plan on going over there anytime soon to try those foods. I'm so glad that people seem to really like it this year. There's so many options, which is awesome. I'm actually just slightly disappointed at ours this year because a lot of the booths seem to only have one food and one beverage with theirs, which historically we've had at least two and two, right? So I don't know. It just feels a little like they downsized it for some reason over here at California Adventure. So yeah, it's okay. But
my favorite thing I ever had at that one was they had a Nashville hot turkey one year, and it was amazing.
Was good.
Yeah.
Yes. I don't know why they don't bring those back. Like that was really popular. The spiced wings were really popular last year, as well as the stuffing mac and cheese, which is one of the best mac and cheeses they've ever made. And they brought back like the bad one, like the Southern style mac and cheese, which looks like dog food. I'm sorry. Not sorry.
Wow.
But...
Wow. Oh, shots fired.
Yeah, I like seeing that. Get jealous of our delicious food.
More of
sure,
that.
Yeah.
Before I throw it to Rob, one of the other things that I think is a huge staple of EPCOT, and obviously they have this in Disneyland in a smaller version, but is the Candlelight Processional. And every year that I've gone to the Festival of Holidays, I've done a dining package for the Candlelight Processional. We had the Chrissy Metz from This Is Us was doing the reading. I've been there for Cal Ripken Jr., Joe Morton, Ming Nan, Simu Liu. It's a neat tradition. It feels like, I mean, I don't go all the time, but it feels like, taking you to church during the holidays. They tell the Christmas story and the choir, and it's just, to me, I think is an amazing part of the Festival of the Holidays, and it'll be interesting to see. I wonder if they'll move this up to the front of the park at some point, or they'll keep it in American Gardens. But yeah, I really love this. So Rob, what about you? What kind of stuff are you look at?
I have to say the number one thing is the Candlelight Processional for sure. For me, it's just it's an emotional experience, right? Well, two, because the line to get in, even if you bought a dining package, is so long, you're crying before you get to your seat. But it's also just an emotional experience being there. So that is the number one thing. I also like that they demonstrate the customs of Christmas in each of the countries. I don't think we talk enough about that in Epcot. It's usually around food and drinks, but there's that cultural piece, right? Understanding what Saint Nicholas looks like and different parts of the world is exciting. And food wise, I know this is seems pretty kind of lame, but I also love being able to go back and get traditional American stuffing and turkey as well back in the American Pavilion.
You didn't get enough of that at Thanksgiving this year?
I just had
I
a
didn't.
big plate. It was good, man. That leftover turkey hits different. Rob, while we're breaking for a second, I want to thank Robin. I am not going to butcher your last name, for a $30 donation. Also a $20 donation from Anonymous. And thank you to all of our wigs. We love our wigs. Your November wigs membership money went into the donation. So we are now at $11,707 for Toys for Tots.
That is awesome. And just again, in case you guys don't have it, you can donate at toys.wdwnt.com, and it is all appreciated, and all the money goes to the Toys for Tots. So thank you guys for...
Rob, I missed a food. I did miss a food.
Which one did you miss?
Toasted coconut porter float with salted caramel soft serve. Can we have that hang on to like January 14th-ish? Be really helpful for me.
Do you know somebody going to the parks around that time? Is that why you're asking?
It's me!
Oh my gosh, that's crazy.
Less than 50 days. It's been over a year since I have graced Walt Disney World with my presence.
Well, the holidays end on January 6th, and this is my yearly time to give my public service announcement about that, is that the 12 days of Christmas are the days between Christmas and January 6th, which is Three Kings Day. A lot of people think that the 12 days of Christmas is a shopping countdown to Christmas Day. It is not. It is the 12 days between Christmas and Three Kings Day. So just putting that out there. I need to make sure everybody knows that every year, because a lot of times Disney will even put out 12-day countdown advent. They call them advent calendars, but they're not. An advent calendar starts on December 1st and goes through Christmas Day, and then there's a 12 days of Christmas between those two. So if you're buying a gift and you were like, I don't know what to get anybody, wait till they go on sale and buy them a 12-day calendar that will go from the 25th to the 6th. It'll be great. There you go. Public service announcement. Let's move on to the resorts for the holidays. And we talked about this a little bit last week on ParksCenter, but more stuff has actually been put out there. And I guess I just want to go around this panel and see what you guys, and I feel like Megan's going to say Grand Californian, but like what hotel you think really does it up the best for the holidays? There's a lot of stuff out there, even like, All Stars and Pop Century, they're all doing it. But to me, the one that is always the best is the Wilderness Lodge. That lobby in general is amazing. And then having that fireplace and that huge tree that goes all the way through the lobby there is outstanding to me. So Rob, I'm gonna start with you and work our way backwards this time. So just to catch you off guard, which you're like, nope, I'm ready. Which one do you like the best? And is it your home resort of Grand Floridian?
It is actually, it's a toss up between Wilderness Lodge. That is incredible. That tree is incredible. The fireplace, everything is exciting. Last time I was there for the holidays, I think I just sat in that lobby for a half hour drinking a coffee, and it was a really great experience. But it is a neck and neck tie with Grand Floridian. The gingerbread house is pretty incredible. Their tree is pretty incredible. The hustle and bustle, it's a different kind of experience, right? Wilderness Lodge tends to be a bit calmer, whereas there's a bit more pace happening at Grand Floridian, and they're both pretty incredible.
Yep. And Megan?
Well, yeah, I guess on the West Coast, yes, the Grand Californian, which kind of looks like Wilderness Lodge's like little sister, is definitely does it the best. I think they do have a large gingerbread house and a Christmas tree, so they deck it out really nicely. And they also serve holiday treats in the lobby, so that's kind of cool.
Okay. And Patrick.
This year, for one reason and one reason alone, it's the boardwalk because of that DuckTales carousel. That DuckTales carousel is amazing, and I love it. Usually, I'm right on pace with Rob. I will say Wilderness Lodge, just it's something, it hits different in the holidays, and Grand Floridian, especially if the piano's there, or they decided to bring back the orchestra because they actually decide to like their fans. Shout out though to underrated Port Orleans French Quarter, really does a great job for the holiday season as well.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, again, I think there's a lot of them that really do it up well. I love that what they have for Animal Kingdom. I think the Animal Kingdom has that same vibe as the Wilderness Lodge with that stuff. And then, yeah, I think there's a lot of really cool stuff that they do around the holidays. It's definitely worth seeing. So if you guys haven't, go ahead and check it out. Let's move on to treats, because again, there's a lot of good treats that they've added just this week that we've seen hit the blog. So again, if you don't already visit, go to WDWNT.com, check out all the different treats they have. But I asked everybody on the panel to pick out one in particular that means something to you. So, Megan, you know what? We'll start with you this time. Is there one of those treats that we've shown that you're like, yeah, that's the one I need to get for me?
Oh man. I honestly, I'm not sure. I love them all. Oh god. Everything, honestly, Hollywood Studios. I'm actually really jealous of the treats at Hollywood Studios. So there you go, Patrick. I'm jealous of the East Coast food.
Yes.
Maybe maybe the cupcake. Just for reference, I'm not eating sweets right now. I'm on a little like fitness thing. So any type of sugar looks really good. But yeah, the Santa cupcake maybe. Love it all. You muted again, Rob.
Again, loud keyboard.
Struggling today.
Loud keyboard. Yeah, I would say that there's it's the most wonderful time of the year. So how dare you limit yourself during the holidays? That's crazy.
I picked a bad time. Yeah.
No, it's fine. I think when you're talking about the studios, though, this one is the darling of them all. This Mickey gingerbread cookie, definitely something that I'm looking at going.
What did they do to his face though? That's not Mickey. What did they do to his face?
They made it happy.
Okay. Well, that's something that I think we beat you guys at is the gingerbread. We have the best Mickey gingerbread, in my opinion.
Yeah, because it's like the full
Available
body
at holiday.
Mickey. Yeah, it's the full body
Yes.
Mickey gingerbread. Yeah, that's pretty good.
And the
Yes.
hand spun candy canes that
Yes,
Oh.
those are coming soon.
This monstrosity, by the way, I want very much. This looks.
It looks horrendous.
No.
Red velvet
no,
roti pie.
Yeah, I need this in my life. Yeah,
Wow.
it looks incredible.
Yeah.
Rob, I know that you're a fitness guru, but which of these would you say is the one that you want the most?
Yeah, I am taking a few weeks off of my exhaustive training. And so when I'm in the parks in 3 weeks, I am going to be heading to MGM to have that Santa Mickey cupcake. It looks pretty awesome. I'm excited about it.
The one
Traveling
that
there in a time machine.
MGM.
MGM, EPCOT Center, he cannot let go of the past. It is fine. We're the same way, Rob. We get it.
That's okay.
The one that I'm questioning is this one. Does that look appetizing? I don't know.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Okay.
100%, because there is something about people who make their own Pop-Tarts. There's a restaurant here in Middletown, Connecticut. They did it once. I don't know if they still do it. They made house-made Pop-Tarts, and they were amazing. They were so good. So I'm excited for that. But Rob, the best one, ginger giraffe. I would like to eat a tiny gingerbread giraffe. It just looks so ginger giraffe.
Yeah. This is the one of which you speak. This one right here.
Look at it. It's so cute.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
Yeah.
It's better than when they had
that's cute.
poop out there in Animal Kingdom.
Oh yeah. But look at and you know what? That one's on point, right? I mean, Megan, you can't hate on that one, right?
I know I will not hate on that one. That's pretty cute.
Yeah. When I was at Disneyland, it was the start of the holidays, and they gave us some of those Mickey gingerbread men, and I brought them home, and they are incredibly good. The ones that are out there, and it's
Right.
the full gingerbread Mickey, and it doesn't really matter if it looks like Mickey or not; they are delicious. So, gingerbread is
Yeah.
something that Disney does really well, and a lot of when you have to build houses and carousels and things like that. Then you know it's going to be good stuff. I Yeah, I cannot wait to get more of it, but also, again, I wish they would have it year round. Like, that's one of those things that I feel like there should be year round examples of that. Now, let's move on to tiki mugs because this was a fun thing. I got a text from Mr. Hackett, and he was like, "Hey, can I borrow your Disneyland hookup?" Which is Allie. There's no secret about that.
Yeah.
She is the one that she has. Basically, there's a closet for Rob at Allie's house that has all the popcorn buckets. That every time one comes up, I'm like, yes, here, let me Venmo you. Get me a popcorn bucket. But he was like, "Hey, I saw this and I might need this.
It's beautiful.
This is the first
Mhm.
edition holiday rum barrel tiki mug coming to Trader Sam's." So it does look beautiful. I don't disagree with you. And Patrick, when you messaged me, I was like, I don't do tiki mugs. I say that and I have like 5, which when 5 is not doing it, imagine if I was. But I mean, I know Patrick, these are much nicer than I'm gonna admit it, than the popcorn buckets that I collect. But also,
Thank you.
yeah,
And they're
no,
functional. You can use them for things, Rob.
no, how
It's
dare
not
you?
just like this cup here. Pardon me, that's my one of one pop. I very much love it. But this cup here, Rob, we drink out of it. We put like
What?
hot cocoa in
That's
it,
not
and we
no.
use it for the functionality. And I could use that and drink out of it and have a little tiki rum barrel and be happy. Make myself happy with a little tiki rum barrel. So if anybody would like to pick one up for me, I will gladly pay you for that and make a donation to Toys for Tots. If I can get a rum barrel, I would be very
This is
happy.
functional. I'm just
No, it
never,
isn't.
ever gonna put popcorn in it. I mean,
No
it's functional.
Oh, Rob.
I'm just saying it's functional. I'm just never, ever gonna put popcorn in it. Maybe I'll store wishables in it, maybe, but no, not ever gonna put food in it. Here's the other one, the 4th edition of this Nautilus Tiki mug, which is one of those weird situations where it's a shareable drink. Megan, have you ever shared like one of these drinks with a table full of people and 8 straws?
No, you know what? Maybe we've had one of the oh gosh, like a volcano of some sort, but that was one time. I don't usually share with the 8 straws in the drink. That's not really my thing. That one doesn't look as functional, gotta admit,
Yeah, no, for sure.
normally.
Yeah. I mean, it's very cool. I mean, we love the Nautilus. We're big fans on the blog of 20,000 Leagues and the original Nautilus ride, the 20,000 Leagues ride. But yeah, I don't know. Rob, do you collect any of these tiki mugs?
Actually, I do.
Whoa.
Although I'm concerned, why aren't they doing these special edition mugs in Orlando? That's it seems like that's missing a huge opportunity, and I spent more time there. Does anyone have a reason why? Anyone know why?
You mean why the Nautilus is in Orlando?
No, but why don't they have these special edition tiki mugs at the Trader Sam's in Orlando?
Oh, well, the Nautilus one is. The Nautilus one, I believe, is, right?
Like the holiday
Christmas
one, you
isn't.
mean?
Yeah.
Oh, the
Yeah,
Christmas
holiday
one
one.
isn't.
And
Yeah.
Disneyland has quite a few special edition mugs that I never see
Yeah.
come to Orlando.
We had the
And I was
Ursula
actually
one.
at Trader Sam's and at the Poly
Yeah.
3 weeks ago, and they didn't have anyone. You couldn't buy them; they were sold out.
I don't know that I have an answer for you other than the fact that, like Patrick says, it's just unfair. That's really where we're at with that one. It's just not fair when they do stuff like that. Is that about right, Patrick? Okay.
Mhm. It is
We're
You know
mostly
what?
the front direct.
I mean, they do
No,
stuff.
You're
Good.
small.
get
Your
stuff.
food's better. You're smaller.
California.
Yeah. All right. Well, I live in the Northeast. You don't get to pull that. Your food's better there. I get it. You have Mexican
Okay.
food. We have edible pizza here. So, like, let's not go down that road.
True.
But they just, maybe because it's smaller, they feel bad and give you better things. Like, all right, sure, we have 2 other parks, but what are they really?
I don't know. I think I always go back to we're a locals park over, we need to attract tourists kind of thing. We got to keep these collectors because we've got a lot of collectors down here. We got to keep them coming back. And that Christmas one is for sure going to bring people in and sell out pretty quickly.
What do you think it's going to go for on eBay? $100 a piece?
At least 100. Yeah, the Ursula one, I think I saw someone was selling for 200 because that was a big one. So yeah, at least 100.
What he's asking is, what did you list yours for, Megan?
I actually had a little magic moment, and one of my friends invited me to Club 33 where they were selling the black one. So I got the black one.
Oh.
Wow. Yep.
Even after you got those very expensive sparkly ears?
Yeah, that was before.
Wow.
I spent a lot of money in the last couple weeks.
Yeah, you know what? The Club 33 around Halloween, they did the tree with like the spooky tree with the 3 cups, and they had it at Carthay. But
1901.
if you went to 1901, it was the only thing that was different is they were different colors, and I've never wanted anything so much as this, like the mugs, like the being different colors, the apples being different colors. I wanted that one, but
that's one of the best souvenirs they've had in a long time. Yeah.
Speaking of Club 33, we do have dinner at Club 33 as one of our auction items. Go to auction.wdwnt.com. The live auction will start after our show, but you can start bidding now. You can set a price, and it won't go above that if you want to make sure you have a limit and can't join in on the live auction. Also, please keep donating. toys.wdwnt.com. We haven't had a donation in a minute. We will read whatever you say in the comments as long as it is age appropriate. So, make a comment, please make a donation. Tell Rob his popcorn bucket obsession is not great for him or the environment or for his family.
This one's going with me. I was watching Tom's review of the cruise and the holiday cruise, and they did the soldier as a sipper, and I was like, son of a. Oh, okay, great. Like, at least do me the courtesy of having the same thing at every park, so that and all on the cruise ship, so I don't have to have the one-offs that I can't get to. All right, so let's talk about Wish. Did anybody here go see Wish? I did. Anybody else go see Wish? Nobody hurried out to see Wish. Okay. You know what's interesting is it's very it's pretty much most people are like meh about the movie, but the Disney Synergy machine rolls on as they have the Spaceship Earth light show for Wish, and then they have popcorn buckets and sippers. Are you kidding me? That's craziness. And even they've got a photo spot here at All Star Movies, which, by the way, they keep doing that All Star Movies to do the red carpet thing. I think that's a pretty neat thing. I like that. Yeah. That's a pretty cool thing. And then they also added to out there in California, the World of Color Season of Light has a pre-show with Wish on the front of it. So
yes, yep,
yeah. I'm a fan of the music. I like that. The animation is interesting. I didn't think I was gonna like it, but once I started watching the movie, I thought the animation was pretty good. But I mean, I do also very much appreciate the synergy that if you're you're a family and you went to see Wish and then you go into the parks, it's there. I almost wish it would last longer than it does. Usually they cut it off pretty quickly, but that the Wish show like the beacon on Spaceship Earth is mixed with a couple others, the Disney 100 and also now the Frozen one for the Festival of the Holidays. So you get to see that one for a little while, and I'm sure they'll keep it in the mix for a bit. But the World of Color tag, I know that they did this for Elemental on World of Color 1 when that came out. Have you seen this one, Megan? Have you seen this in person?
Yes, I was there the first night it started, and it's really pretty. They do the main song, and yeah, I just the way they throw it together on the water, it's really fascinating to me. So it's a pretty cool pre-show. I liked it.
Patrick, how are you feeling about the Wish stuff? Anything that you wish you could be there to see?
Nothing that I wish I could be there to see. The drink at Connections sounds pretty good. but nothing that I'm like rushing out there. I like the synergy. Sometimes I wonder if they should wait and see how reception's going to be. But yeah, I love the beacon shows. The beacon shows are the best. The fact that they can keep just churning these out and that they can show multiple different ones and just kind of it's great, really wonderful. Well done, EPCOT team.
Gotcha. Well, you know what? I will say though, it's really a tough spot for Disney to be in, right? Like if they put out the stuff and the movie's a bomb, then they're stuck. And if they don't do the stuff, which I think for Frozen, they were way behind on the Frozen stuff when, because my daughter was the perfect age for Frozen when it came out, and they like finding stuff was insane to find anything. Same thing with Grogu, but I think with Grogu that was a different beast altogether, so to speak, because they wanted to keep that a secret, and so there weren't a bunch of things in production that came out early. Sometimes they get this stuff out so early that that it spoils things for you, like when they did when they did Wakanda Forever, Black Panther, they released like the pops of all of the characters ahead of time, and it's just like, oh, okay, so that's who Black Panther is. Great. So anyway, I like when they do the synergy thing. I like when Avengers show up in Avengers Campus the next day. I like when they show up in Galaxy's Edge after we see the first episode of Ahsoka. I appreciate they do this, but I get what you're saying. Like, you know, wait to see if the movie's going to do well before they put the stuff out there. I just hope it lasts for a little while so that people who were fans of it can get out there and see it. So anything else before we move on from Wish? Nobody? Also, we have a new donation, Patrick. If you can hit us with that one.
We do. David Lung donated $25. $25 for the tots. Thanks, WDWNT. No, thank you, David. Thank you so much for your generosity. And again, that's toys.wdwnt.com to donate.
Yep. It looks like this. So let's talk about this now. What Mark Twain. Now, again, we know things happen. This is so disturbing, though. Mark Twain's head. I don't know how it gets stuck in that position. Like, what was he looking at that time that it gets stuck all the way over here? Like, I would get it if it was stuck in this position, but stuck all the way over here. It's almost like somebody got fired that day, ran in, broke his neck, and then ran away. Like, I don't know. It looks, it's tough to see. And I mean, we have the video of it on WDWNT.com. I'll play it in a minute. But Rob, you knew Mark Twain. How do you feel about this?
He was kind of a jerk, actually, now that I think about it. I think what happens here is there's probably a heavier piece of animatronics in that part of his ear. And as the whatever support broke, that's just the way his head twisted. Although I hope this didn't last long. Do we have any reporting on how long it was actually like this? I can imagine some poor children being having nightmares about seeing this in their dreams. Hopefully it didn't continue to be up and running for a long period of time after this was identified.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like most kids sleep through this thing, so I'm not really sure any of the kids were paying attention to what was going on. But yeah, I love it when he pulls the cigar right up to his face and really just sticking it in his ear. So yeah, and you know, but Ben Franklin, being the professional he is, never even blinked on this one. I mean, he just played through and made sure not to call any extra attention to it. Yeah. And we talked about this last week with Frozen. So, you know, the projection faces went black, and they were still moving their heads with these black faces that like gave Megan vibes. It was a little bit strange. So not Megan, you get it.
The Megan the doll. Yeah.
The Threegan, Rob. It's right there in the title.
I don't think so. Megan, thoughts on this animatronic, or does it nightmares?
Yeah, it'd be a little scary to see in person, I think. I'd be like, whoop, something happened there. We're no stranger to things popping off over here, or like just animatronics looking the wrong way. Jack Sparrow was looking the wrong way for a long time on Pirates of the Caribbean, like completely like the other direction. And then Ursula's head popped off at one point. That was years ago. I don't know how these things happen. Like what goes wrong in these robots where things are just, not where they're supposed to be.
The
I
rise of
wish
the
I knew.
robots.
Yeah.
You know what though? I get it. Things happen, but do you think, Patrick, that it's because we all have phones now and we can catch this, that it's not that it's happening more often, it's just that we're catching it more so? Or because again, let me just throw this out there too. When I worked Journey into Imagination way back in the day, one of the ride positions, and I've said this before, was that at the end of the night, you would have one person ride through the attraction and see if anything was broken or any trash was anywhere or anything like that. That was actually a paid position in the rotation, was to ride through the attraction one last time to make sure that there was nothing out of sorts. And I assume somebody saw this and then went and reported it. But what are your thoughts on it before we move on?
I'm gonna hit you with the improv. It's a yes and, not a no but. Yes, and it's caught more because we have phone cameras. But I imagine there's people with pictures that they show their families from the time that they saw an animatronics with its head turned the wrong way and became a thing of urban legend. But I also think that maintenance is straight trash. I know the next one is Genie sold out, but the condition of Tron is repulsive.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I mean, yeah, we're gonna talk about Tron in a second, but that's definitely. I mean, the maintenance stuff is a concern because again, we hold Disney to a higher level of of excellence, really, and we pay for it, right? Like that's the thing, is it's the most expensive theme park, to my knowledge. It's the most expensive theme park that you can go to, and it's because you're paying for the quality and you're paying for that extra effort that they give it. So again, I get that things happen, we catch it. Some of it we go, oh, okay, that's funny or that's creepy or whatever. But if that's your only time that you're seeing that attraction in your entire life, that's gonna be the thing that you walk away with and remember about Disney, is that there was this broken thing when you were there. Um, so moving on to, as we were talking just now about the Genie Plus, and I know, Patrick, you're a huge fan of. Hey, I've only got a certain amount of time. Let me go ahead and pay to play.
Mhm.
It's sold out in record time in both of these days, and was not cheap to do. So the Magic Kingdom specifically, it had the highest price point for Thanksgiving that it had ever had, and it was $35 for multiple park, $35 for Magic Kingdom for the day. So you're already paying what, 120, 140 a day if you're not an AP, and then you go into this with an extra $35 per person, family of four. You're talking about another $140. So but it's either that or you don't get to ride anything, right?
I think it's not just you don't get to ride anything. You have to wait in line, and some of the lines can be a bit, time consuming. I do Genie Plus mostly at the Magic Kingdom, a little bit at Epcot, but like Animal Kingdom, I haven't really seen any value for it. Obviously, this is an incredibly busy time of year, so it's going to go for more and it's going to sell out. It's the system's broken. They need to fix it. We've been teased that a different version of Genie Plus is coming. I know we're never going back to free Fast Pass, but they do need to do something with this system because we used to have a better system. We went backwards with this. If you wanted to tell us that you kept Fast Pass Plus and you charged us for it, a lot of people would consider it. But I think people are A, resistant to change, and B, don't want to pay on top of what we already have said multiple times is an incredibly expensive vacation. And if you're getting all this extra revenue that came out of nowhere, you'd think you'd, spend some of it on maintenance or paying people to do maintenance.
So earmark it if we're paying for Genie Plus, kind of
Yeah.
like in your state when you buy the lottery and it goes to education. If we're paying for
Yeah.
Genie Plus and we know it's going to new monorails or lamp posts
Yeah.
or animatronics or any of those things, that would be nice to have. Rob has risen his head, so I think that he has something to say.
Sure. You know, you say that people don't want it, but apparently they do, right? It's selling out at record cost structures. So it is something that visitors definitely want, but simultaneously it gives a much worse experience for those who don't buy it, right? You hear stories of cast members letting in, 8 fast pass members or fast pass, 8 lightning lane people per one or two people from the standby line, it's definitely decreasing the value for those who choose not to buy it. But I
Gotcha.
spend it.
And
As much as we complain, people still buy it. So they're going to continue to offer as long as it sells out or comes close to selling out. It's free revenue, and it's probably offsetting the losses at Disney Plus and the studios.
Different budgets.
Yep. Anything from you, Megan, before we move on from this one?
Not really. I think you guys said it all. I mean, it's used quite a bit over here at Disneyland. I think I don't know, it is valuable when you get it, and especially around the holidays. It's really nice to have it to bypass some of these lines. I went the day after Thanksgiving and it was packed. So I don't know if it's ever sold out here. Maybe once or twice, but
I think at least once, but I don't think it does
At
on a
least
regular
once.
basis because, like you said,
Yeah.
locals park, right?
Mm-hmm.
I do feel like that I loved Max Pass because you could add it to your AP
Oh,
back when we had the AP, and you
I would love
bought
that.
you bought that
don't
extra
even get
high
me started.
level. Well, I mean, that's the thing, right? Like that's honestly, Rob, you make a great point. People are buying it, it's selling out, it's a convenience. People are willing to pay the extra money for it, and that's, it is what it is. But it was better before when we could say as annual pass holders add it to our
Question is
existing
better
pass.
for you, but better for you,
Not
but
not for the
better
company.
the Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Right.
No, I get it. Everything that they do is better. I said this before. The house always wins, my friend. The house always wins. So I feel like it would be nice if they could at least make an effort to disguise what they're doing here, but they're not. And so, back in the day as you're a
Yeah.
little kid, you would just go, hey, Disney is the greatest. They care about me. And now we're like, it is a company. I get it. At the end of the day, it is a company, but it's one that we hold to a higher standard, as I mentioned. So. One thing I forgot to talk about or didn't add to the list today that I definitely want to talk about is the completion of EPCOT coming. Here's a picture of World Celebration taken by BioReconstruct, and we love BioReconstruct. And you can see like that center plaza looks like it's almost ready, but like Communicore Hall doesn't look like it's quite ready yet. Wait,
The
where are
Jungle
we?
Cruise does not belong there at all. That's interesting.
No. Yeah, that's not.
Mhm.
So here's the Communicore Hall is happening. They're repainting, and in Canada, there's a lot of stuff going on. And I also showed that they're still brushing up stuff over at the Living Seas. So or the Seas with Nemo and Friends. Sorry, that's like MGM and Epcot Center, the Living Seas. It was a thing. So when I'm looking at all this stuff, it doesn't look like it's going to be ready for December 5th. December 5th was the day that they were shooting for the fireworks. But this other stuff doesn't look like it's going to be ready for December 5th. And if you're wondering why would that matter, December 5th, what does that mean? That is Walt Disney's birthday. So I think they were looking for some kind of a milestone for completion to say, hey, it's Walt's birthday. Let's, Dreamer's Point is open. Communicore Hall. Let's release the rest of it. But Patrick, we joke, and I saw it earlier in the chat about this being Walcott. Please, for the love of God, just take down the walls.
Take down the walls.
Yes, please, Mr.
Mr.
Iger.
Demaro, tear down that wall. Those walls, all the walls. My daughter is going to be shocked when we get there in January, and like Epcot's going to be a completely different park. There might not be much more to do, but at least it'll, we could walk places.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. Rob, what about you? Thoughts on the progression or lack thereof?
I'm still waiting for that 2-story event center. I don't see it there. It's complete.
Oh, bad news, buddy. That is gone. Sorry.
Man.
They took that out of the plans. There was this thing. It didn't affect you guys at Google, but it's called COVID. And then when that happened, they were like, you know what? We don't need a big building for this. Let's just make a small one. Yeah, that'd be fine. We've already destroyed the land. Let's just make a small building. I agree. It would have been great to see that multi-story with the park on top. And I was explaining that to my wife this week, and she was like, a park on top? Why would you do that? I was like, because it'd be awesome. Like having a
That's
green...
the same thing when we saw the Disney Springs art, and there was supposed to be that elevated bar. I mean, the train tracks are still there, but like Epcot drinking and a park on a roof sounds like several dozen news stories for WDWNT, and they're not great.
How
to
dare you,
be
sir?
fair. But you know what is great? Donations to Toys for Tots, especially when they are from a Hollywood legend. I love Troop Beverly Hills. Shelley Long, thank you so much for your $20 donation. And she says, they say, thank you for doing this every year. Thank you, Shelley, for your donation. We appreciate it.
Yeah, don't forget, donate at toys.wdwnt.com in lieu of a super chat so that all the money goes directly to Toys for Tots. That would be great. Again, I just wanted to kind of talk about that one, the Epcot transformation, because like we talked about earlier, and like Josh being all in, let's get that done. Let's just get that done and have Epcot back to the way it was, because it's not like they've been throwing us a discount to go to Epcot, while it's been under construction. So it'd be nice if they, I don't know, wasn't under construction anymore. That'd be great. Patrick alluded to this a little bit earlier. Tron needs a power wash on the power run. And again, when this thing opened up in April, I believe, it's not even a year old, and it looks horrendous. And here's the other thing: is they've made the conscious decision for this to be a white canopy. White gets dirty, so I mean, this definitely looks like something that should be easy enough to fix, but it has, again, it's only been there since April. Patrick, why is this happening? You haven't even had a chance to ride it yet, have you?
I have not ridden it yet. No, I'm excited. I don't care how dirty it is and getting on it. I realize how that sounds at 4:30 in the afternoon. It's not great. Here's my thing, and this is a theory my buddy told me and was very excited about the proposed move to Lake Nona, is that Imagineering doesn't work in the Orlando climate. And because of that, whenever we get cloned attractions, they have a tendency to break down more. And I think it is because they are not prepared for the elements that they're going to be here. This might be 3 months worth, if not more, build up in Shanghai that they could take care of, on one overnight. But when you're talking about changing from Halloween to Christmas decorations and, all the other routine maintenance, this is something they probably didn't put into thought. And really, like you're saying, it just takes probably an overnight worth of power washing. And I think it's just the lack of manpower, the lack of power amount of people that they have working. This shouldn't happen.
Rob, you were saying earlier, like, I kind of actually come in their defense on many things as far as the money goes. How do you feel about this? Do you feel like that we're holding them to too high a standard when we're looking at this stuff?
No, I think there's two things. I mean, I agree with Patrick that the Imagineers aren't in Central Florida, right? So they don't understand the uniqueness of the humidity and the heat and all the changes that happen there. And also, the ride was in Shanghai, so it's that probably their track record or history of what maintenance needs to look like for this cloned ride is probably very different. So it's likely more just a planning piece. Now, in terms of the cost structure, is they only have, I'm sure that their deep cleaning roadmap probably is mapped out for months in advance, maybe even a quarter in advance. It's probably just them having to reprioritize the labor associated with doing a deep cleaning like this, or if need be, hiring a third-party vendor to come in and do it, which of course would require incremental budget. So it's just about the way they prioritize this. Hopefully they'll understand in the long term what maintenance schedule needs to look like for the ride and built it in future quarters.
Okay. Again, we probably hold them to too high a standard on some things, but this feels like something, it's your marquee attraction right now, right? Other than Moana Journey of Water, it's the most, the biggest, most recent thing to open, right? So it would be nice if they were keeping it pristine for when, when Patrick finally gets to come and hang out and see it. Because next year he's going to ride it a bunch. And
Probably
maybe even do a couple ParksCenter from it. Like, that would be great.
Definitely.
No. Okay, cool. All right, let's move on to like, I list this as snowy streets and moving trees, because I feel like these are things that are happening at the downtown districts in both Disney Springs and Downtown Disney. I wanted to kind of lump them together. But I love this. And Patrick, you and I talked about this with the drone show before, like when they bring these holiday offerings to these places that don't require admission. These, I'm excited about this. I love that they've added this, and I think Megan, you may have been a part of this one, seeing the snow falling for the first
Yeah.
time in the downtown Disney district. Let's talk about this one first. That looks pretty awesome.
Yeah, yeah, it was really cool to see. They only have it in that specific spot where Jazz Kitchen and Tortilla Joe's are, but it's all over. It's all around. They do it from like four different angles, and they have, I think it's Jingle Bells that are playing throughout. And yeah, super cool that they are now offering what I call Snope at some place that anybody can go to. You don't need a park admission anymore to go see the Snope. So I do love that right in front of the tree there. It's really cool. I'm glad that they started that this year, and hopefully we'll continue it for many years after that.
Yeah. And again, we were talking last week or a couple weeks ago about the drone show that they had at Disney Springs. It was really neat to be able to have some kind of a big event that you could just go to Disney Springs. You didn't need tickets, so you could go and see that kind of stuff. So you could go do
Hmm.
Christmas shopping. I'm sure you've mentioned Locals Park. I'm sure a lot of locals like to go and do a little bit of Christmas shopping, World of Disney, Lego store, stuff like that. The other thing is the
Yeah.
Christmas tree stroll, which happens in Disney Springs, now has interactive magic band effects on some of the trees, which I love that is a thing that they have, more uses for my Magic Band Plus, and that also that they are interactive. Patrick, I kind of wish it was all of them though, because I wave my Magic Band like an idiot by the by the golden
That's on you,
statues,
buddy. That's not a
and
Disney
yeah.
problem. That's just you.
Okay, all right. So how do you feel about about these being on these trees?
I want more Magic Band Plus effects. If you're gonna sell it for such a high price, make it do more things. I love the 50th statues. I thought it was a lot of fun. Yes, I did wave my arm in front of them like an idiot in order to make it work. Um, but yeah, I like that they have tree effects. And again, it's stuff that's quote unquote free. I mean, in the grand scheme of things, you're probably spending money. I don't know anybody who's walked into Disney Springs and come out without spending $1, but if you can, good for you. Just go and enjoy this and enjoy Douglas Fir, the next iteration of Push the Trash Can, a talking tree.
My favorite, and probably yours too, Patrick, is the Nightmare Before Christmas tree, because it has Zero flying around as one of the effects. So, and I know you're a huge Nightmare fan, so that's great.
It's the most
Yeah.
overrated movie
How
ever.
dare you, sir? We are
Ever.
going to come to blows on that sometime. Rob?
I think it doesn't. I think they're looking at it as doing a draw, right? So I'm going to go to the parks in a few weeks, and I probably wouldn't go to Disney Springs if it weren't for this, because I want to go see it. So it's definitely drawing additional traffic, and if you say, hey, X percentage of that additional traffic will convert to buying customers, I'm sure it way more than pays for itself. But I'm really excited.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, and we talked about this before on ParksCenter as well. Is like the difference between the Christmas tree trail that they had at the old bus loop at Disney Springs, which talk about like destination, like it made you go all the way to the most desolate part of Disney Springs, and it was neat. I mean, it was out of the way. It had a Santa, photo op, and you could take your time and go through, and they had Snope going on, and it was neat, but I think this makes them more accessible, that they're along the path that you take, and you can do the little Christmas tree trail hunt and all that kind of stuff. Patrick, you look like you want to say something before we move on.
No.
Okay. I've misread you. I'm sorry. I thought we were closer than that. The final thing that we want to talk about in the parks news is that Blizzard Beach is just reopened, and now it's been closed for because it's too cold. It should not be legally allowed to be cold in Florida. I feel like that's a thing that shouldn't happen. Obviously, Disneyland, a little further up from the equator, you get a pass every now and then. That's fine. I've had to bundle up, and I'm like, it's California. Why am I wearing a hoodie and gloves at the happiest place on earth? But you do it. But Florida, it feels like that you shouldn't have to. But anyway, it's been closed because who wants to play in cold water? The other thing that they came up with, though, which I think is like kudos to Disney, because I think sometimes we come off as like we're just being negative to Disney. Kudos to Disney, because they've opened up this great new attraction, Moana Journey of Water. I love Moana Journey of Water, or Journey of Water. inspired by Moana. Sorry. And I go through and, you play with the water. It's freezing, but they actually warmed up the water because that's a thing that they could do. What? That's crazy. Patrick, you're going to be there in January, which is notoriously also cold. Are you excited about the fact that this is an experience you can have with your daughter in like cold weather?
I'm from New England, so we're gonna go with cold. It's not cold. It's Florida cold. I get
60.
that 60 degrees. You put on your winter coats and pretend that your blood hasn't thinned out from years of living there.
Wow.
I really love the idea that they have heated water. I think that anytime it dips below like 60, you should turn it on. I don't want cold water at that point in time. I don't even want room temperature water. That's a great idea. It's next level thinking, and it's really appreciated. The fact that the water parks are closed, I guess it saves in operation costs, but I don't know. People might go anyway.
Do you want to go swimming in 60 degrees?
I probably have and probably would.
Megan says
it's very cold here.
She says no. She says no to that.
No, thank you. That's the temperature of our oceans, maybe even colder. And I say, no, I'm good. Good on the cold. Mm-mm.
Yeah. All right, Rob, you want to finish this out for us? Thoughts?
Yeah. Again, I think it makes sense. Do you know what they do with those employees who typically work in the parks during this time? Do they schedule them in the traditional theme parks? I wonder if it's an opportunity for them to get more labor into the theme parks.
They send them over to Tron with a washcloth, and they just they just get going on that one. I think it's usually only a day here and there, so I think they still open it up because it's a revenue source. You want to keep it open. Volcano Bay usually follows suit, though, right? Over at Universal, the same thing. And obviously, if you're only keeping one of your water parks open, you don't have to worry about figuring out both Typhoon Lagoon and Blizzard Beach. What a convenience that is for Disney. My wife is an educator. I've talked about that before, and she's always making that, as a principal, she's making that last minute decision of, do we go late? There might be snow, there may not be. What do we do? So I know that somebody somewhere has to make the decision to close these things, and I wonder if Volcano Bay copies off of Blizzard Beach's paper or how that works. But I wouldn't want to go to a water park in winter. That's just me. Even if it's only that cold 60 degrees Patrick is talking about over there.
Speaking of 60 degrees and numbers. Yep, that was a smooth transition. I'd like to thank Kyle Wimp, who donated $10, making the total now $11,874. Make sure you go to toys.wdwnt.com or go over to auction.wdwnt.com if you feel like, hey, I want a little something for my donation. Plenty of items there. There's some high ticket items like going out on a day in the parks with Tom, dinner at Club 33. There's also some pins, pops, and things of that nature. So make sure you get over there. And thank you, as always, for your donations. WDWNT doesn't touch any of this money. It goes directly to Toys for Tots.
Awesome. Thank you. Appreciate it. I had thought about the idea of recording my spiel from Listen to the Land and seeing if anybody wanted to buy that in auction. And then I was like, nah, nobody wants that. Because you could put on your headphones and listen to the land rather than living with the land. But, living with the land is fine. Let's move on to All You Care to Eat. So we've talked in the past on ParksCenter about character meals. That was the thing we talked about. So we've talked about fine dining. We've talked about table service in general, and we've talked about counter service. But specific to All You Care to Eat, which I love that verbiage. They're not saying all you can eat, because that sounds like you're giving me a challenge. And we're going to put your picture on the wall when it's all said and done. But this is all you care to eat, being a little bit more responsible, especially since, the old CFO thought we needed to lose weight anyway. So
Christine.
So I wanted to bring this to the panel to talk about a little bit. And I think, Patrick, you and I had talked about this before. When COVID happened, when they started bringing things back, they did family style instead of buffets. And you were a fan of that. So let's talk about that 100%. First. Is that when we talk about all you care to eat, there's two different ways they do it. There's either family style where they bring you dishes to your table, or there's the buffet, and you prefer.
I want family style. I don't want to have to go fight people for the specific cut of meat I want or how many peel and eat shrimp I'm going to eat. Also, in the age of pandemics, where we're being a lot more aware of how we interact with each other, I don't want you near my food. You're all gross and disgusting. I want my food around people I can trust, and even those people I don't trust so much, but people I mostly trust that I can share a meal with. And it also probably will save on waste because I'm not going to keep going back and they're like, oh, I don't want this. I'm only going to get the specific things that I know I want and I'm going to eat. I prefer family style than buffet.
Rob, agree, disagree?
Yeah, there's two different things there. So, I also typically prefer family style, but people don't judge you as much if you want to eat more if you go up to the buffet and do it yourself. But honestly, I prefer family style as well. I think wastefulness. I think is one big piece, right? If you're especially at the prices Disney charges for these buffets, people feel like they have to get their money's worth. So I think they load up their plate in a big way. And so I definitely prefer for all those things, family style.
Yeah, I got you, Megan.
I do like both. When we went to, there's a restaurant at Fort Wilderness, I think. I forget what it's called, and I'm sorry, I'm blanking on the name, but it was buffet.
Trails End.
Moved to,
Trails.
thank you,
Yeah.
Trails End.
Oh.
Yes, we went there we did the Dopey Challenge in 2022, so last year, almost 2 years ago. And it was great. We had a great time. The food was excellent, served on big old plates and stuff. So there's good things about both, but yeah, family style, definitely in terms of the hygiene, I guess you could call it, or the cleanliness aspect. And after the pandemic, I think it's great. So, but buffet's fun too. I like Goofy's Kitchen over here at Disneyland Resort.
I do also like Goofy's Kitchen. So let me ask you guys first of all. I want to go around and get best breakfast buffet, or best breakfast all you care to eat meal. We'll call it, because I do think they're similar, like the buffet and the family style. So I'm lumping them all together here. But the best breakfast one, Rob. What is the best breakfast that you can have all you care to eat?
So my favorite currently, I know they've adjusted it quite a bit, is at Topolino's. In terms of a breakfast, it's a great character breakfast. The food is awesome. I think now used to be able to order everything on the menu you want to. Now you can only get, I guess, for lack of a better term, refills on the one dish you order. But still, to date, my favorite hasn't come back yet. 1900 Park Fair
Yes.
was my favorite breakfast. And
Yes.
sadly, it hasn't rejoined us yet.
Well, I've heard rumor that there were some problems with the restaurant itself. So from cast members who used to work there, so they're
But you would
taking
think
care of
after
some
this
things.
period of time, after this long, they could have, whatever those problems were, could have been easily fixed.
I don't disagree. But yeah, that 1900 Park Fair was a good one. I didn't do breakfast there, but I did dinners there, and I thought that one was pretty neat. For me, I think Tusker House will always be my favorite. All you care to eat breakfast, because they just really, they do it up, and you get a glass of jungle juice while you're there. Patrick, what's your breakfast?
1900 Park Fair for breakfast and dinner is definitely a favorite. It's a great place. Man, I don't think the menu is the same, but a long time ago, I went to Crystal Palace and I had the Pooh French toast, and then there was a breakfast lasagna and a breakfast pizza. They were by no means deserve the names of either of those items, but they were so good. And Trails End was the first ever buffet I ate at in Disney World, and it was one of my favorites for breakfast. It was so good.
Yeah, I did like Trails End for breakfast too, and yeah, but Crystal Palace, I don't know.
It was a while ago.
I was about to say I'm not such a huge fan of Crystal Palace anymore for all you care to eat. I get it if you want Pooh characters with your meal, but yeah, Megan.
Well, the only one that I've done recently is Goofy's Kitchen for brunch, and it was good. It was good. I wish I could tell you that I've done Storytellers or Plaza Inn recently, but it's been like years. I don't think I've ever done breakfast at Storytellers actually. So yeah, Goofy's Kitchen is my choice. It's good. It's good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then let's talk about. I'm going to compare these two and pull them together for lunch and dinner. And there's a bunch of them that I can think of. So I want to start with. We'll start back again with Rob. And again, lunch or dinner, Disneyland, Disney World. What's your pick for an all you care to eat? Like if somebody's asking for a recommendation, what would you give them?
Yeah, I'm probably going to go with Cape May Cafe.
Ooh.
You know, no, you know, you're not. I'm not getting any agreement. Surprise for me. You know, I like the environment. I like the food. Getting some seafood, which is something that I really like, and you don't typically get very large portions. So being able to get all you care to enjoy with that, I really like a lot.
Gotcha. All right, Megan, same question. I'm gonna guess storytellers.
This one I do have to go with Storytellers. I did go recently for dinner and it was lovely. They had really good salmon, they did have prime rib, and the food I think was a bit higher quality than Goofy's Kitchen. So yeah, I'd have to say Storytellers. It was a good experience. Good atmosphere too.
Last time I went to Storytellers, it was a little different than previous times. I mean, the previous times obviously pre-COVID, but the pre-COVID, there was just the bar. But what I was surprised about with Storytellers, which again, if you're not familiar with it, is at the Grand Californian in Disney California Adventure backs up to it, is that they did a lot of like they would go get you food as well. So there was the bar, but then they were like, do
Hmm.
you want sliders? Do you want like, grilled cheese or soup? There were other things that they would bring you that weren't on the bar that they would cook to order, which I was like, that's pretty amazing. It reminds me of the Alien Compass used to do you would order breakfast and then, your main entree and then go to the bar for more food, which I'm like, yes, that's like, wait, I order an entree and I get the buffet.
Yeah.
Yes, that's perfect. So yeah, storytellers. That's definitely a strong one. Patrick.
Yeah.
Used to be Cape May Cafe. My whole family got incredibly ill after our last visit, and we have not returned. So Cape May Cafe used to be my favorite. Man, this is so tough. I'm actually going on a ton this upcoming trip. I really enjoy Garden Grill a lot. I think that also has to do with the atmosphere a little bit. Ohana. Ohana's always clutch. But yeah, Cape May used to be a big time favorite of my family. We all got incredibly ill and have not returned, but I loved it so much. And Animal Kingdom, the Animal Kingdom buffets, even if you're not adventurous and you want to try to be adventurous, are really good choices. I always get confused on which one is which because my brain is slowly shutting down at the moment.
You're talking about Boma.
Tusker and
Both of
Boma.
them.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought you were talking about the lodge, but yeah. Tusker breakfast is the one that I love. They used to have that breakfast at the Restaurantosaurus in Dinoland, and then they moved it to Tusker for Donald's breakfast. So, you know what? For me, this is going to sound really weird, but one that I always loved Liberty Tree. Like Liberty Tree, hands
Yeah.
down, was the one. And I think that it started out as a character meal, and then when they got rid of the characters, they left the family style food. And it's the Patriots platter, and like that's always been a favorite. There was actually one trip where we did Liberty Tree twice in the same trip. Like that's how addicted we were to Liberty Tree. Now, Diamond Horseshoes like Liberty Tree like overflow for a while. That wasn't the atmosphere wasn't the same. That wasn't as cool. And then you had Garden Grill. The food's very similar, I think, at Garden
Yeah.
Grill, but you get a different vibe because you've got the characters and then you've got the rotating restaurant. So there's a lot there. I think Garden Grill is a great one. I think that's an awesome pick. But one honorable mention that I would mention is Whispering Canyon Cafe. So at Wilderness Lodge, they do those skillets that you get. They bring out the food in the skillets. That's kind of cool. When I go, I have a vegan daughter and my wife is gluten free, so we get different skillets. Like that. I mean, there's just there's no mixing on that kind of stuff. So I like that one. Also, I would give honorable mention to, and a lot of people would probably come at me about this one, is the Roundup Barbecue. In Toy Story Land, because again there's so much that they offer you on that one. The names are a little silly, but that's part of the fun. The environment's really cool. It's not a character thing, but it's still fun for kids and families. So that's one that I think is pretty amazing. So
Rob, before we head on to the next topic, we did get a donation. Thank you to David Scott, one of our wonderful wigs, who donated $107.77. Yeah, 3 sevens. FODA Kids. David, I do have to correct you. It is, in fact, Phototots. Love what you all do here at WDWNT and love my fellow wigs. Happy holidays to all. Thank you so much, David, for the tots.
Yep. And don't forget, you guys can still donate.
Okay. Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
Toys.wdwnt.com to donate. Auction.wdwnt.com, our live auction, which will be starting shortly.
Yeah. So again, I think when you do the all you care to eat meals, I think it's one of those that, the next thing that you have to take into account is the value. Are you going to get your money's worth? A lot of times when we had little kids don't, they're very picky. I don't know if you knew that about little kids. They're very picky, so they don't always eat your money's worth. So I feel like that's one of those things that I'm always like on a mission to make sure that I kind of, like I said, the house always wins, but to somehow break even with what I'm eating. And that's a horrible, unhealthy way to look at it. But again, that's the way I do when I go into it. You want dessert? Yes, of course I want dessert. Am I full? Sure. But yeah, that's the thing. Let me ask you one last question. Speaking of dessert, what is the best all you care to eat dessert? And I've got mine in and I'm going to say it if it spoils for anybody else, but the ooey gooey toffee cake at Liberty Tree is, I think, hands down the one. Patrick?
Ooey gooey toffee cake or bread pudding at Ohana. Those are my two. Strawberry soup, but I guess is strawberry soup a dessert? Is it?
I don't think so.
It? Like
that's from the 1900 Park Fair menu, right?
Yeah. I treat it as dessert. Like, it's soup made of strawberries. It's tasty. It's not an entree.
You can throw fruit on a salad. That doesn't make it a dessert, does it? I don't know. Megan, what about you?
There's a bread pudding at Goofy's Kitchen, actually, that's pretty good. And then you top it with some of the soft serve, all you can eat soft serve ice cream. It's not bad. It's a good combo.
I do like, and it's not dessert, but the peanut butter and jelly pizza that they do at Goofy's Kitchen because I'm five. Because I'm five. Yeah. Rob?
Yep.
Yeah.
Dessert.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Patrick with the bread pudding at Ohana. That's pretty amazing.
Yeah, Ohana, man, like in general, that's a great meal, and especially again, they have a lot of good vegan options, and they get, it's the noodles are amazing, the food is amazing. I know they've changed it a little bit over time, and again because of COVID and all that, the way they deliver the food, but Ohana is definitely a good one. So, thank you guys for talking about this. I want to go around one last time for final thoughts, but I want to give a shout out to our wigs. We love our wigs, the WDWNT Interglobe Society. Thank you guys so much for being with us week in and week out on ParksCenter and Deep in the Plus. News Tonight, we appreciate you guys. So don't forget, we'll be back again next Sunday night at our regular time, 9 p.m. Eastern, for another episode of ParksCenter, 60 minutes and all the parks news of the week. And then and we also have a post show for our Wigs members next week. We don't have one this week since we're doing a 2-hour show and we're moving into the auction soon, but we wanted to make sure to give a shout out to our Wigs members. Also, Deep in the Plus coming up this week, we're going to be doing Robin Hood. So if you guys want to join us for that, we do that on Wednesday nights at 9 p.m. Let's go around the horn. Final thoughts, starting with Patrick. On the night, on the day, the marathon, the foods, the music, what do you got?
I am so happy to be here every year. This is one of the reasons I became a WDWNT fan. This and the Christmas podcast parade. If you've never listened to one of our Christmas podcast parades and you could find one, they're amazing, and they're definitely a snapshot of the year that was whenever we were doing it in Disney. I'm so thankful for the team that we have here, as always, being here with Rob and Megan and second Rob, other Rob B. Takes two to make things go right. Takes two to make it out of sight. We didn't mention Hoop-Dee-Doo, which I feel like Hoop-Dee-Doo was spoiled for me on my last trip, so I can't wait to return.
Perfect, Megan. Follow that.
That's a good points right there. Well said. I'm just really, really happy to be here. Thank you guys so much. And it's been a good time. I also am waiting to hear actual things about our Avatar experience coming over to the West Coast. I know there was like a rumor about DCA, but apparently that was misspoken or something. So we'll see what kind of Avatar thing we're getting over here. And also just the Blue Sky idea of the expansion over, I guess, in the Toy Story lot. So, and in terms of West Coast expansion, that's we're waiting on things too. So we'll believe it when we see it, right? When they maybe break ground. But anyways, thank you guys so much for having me. It's been a blast.
Awesome. Thank you. And Rob B.
First thing I gotta say is that it's always great to be able to spend time with my fellow Disney fans. We talk a lot about opportunities for things to get better, but I think that we'll all agree that there's no better place in the world to be than at a Disney park, especially during the holiday times. Really looking forward to getting out to the parks and enjoying the best that Disney has to offer. And thanks again for having me on here. I really enjoy it.
Awesome. All right. And again, want to thank everybody for being with us. I'll thank you for all your donations. Any to clean up before we move on? We good, Patrick?
No, I just found out that I got played off. So hopefully you heard my message. The important things to take away are be kind to each other, slow down, enjoy your time as a park, don't poop in a queue. I want to make that very clear on my stance on pooping in a queue. Just don't do it. Poop your pants. Like, why are you dropping trout? Just poop your pants. I don't know where we even are as a society anymore. Good night.
So
from
yeah.
ParksCenter. Goodbye forever.
Yep. And thank you guys so much. We appreciate it. We'll see you next time. Thanks, Jake, for doing everything. We'll throw it back to everybody down in the studio. And guys, hopefully we see you soon. If not, have a great holiday. We appreciate it.